Hi, Larry.
Hello. Good to be with you.
Nice to have you here. Some Republicans are suggesting a compromise measure. They want a 3-day waiting period so a judge can decide whether someone on the terror watch list can buy a gun. Is that reasonable?
Well, it's a step in the right direction, but it's not really due process. And all the while, they're kind of in the weeds of what the Democrats have been talking about. And neither party is addressing the gorilla in the room, which is all of our mass murders, save two, since 1950, have been in gun-free zones just like the one in Orlando. They're not talking. The Republican leadership,
now, wait a minute. In Orlando,
is to be faulted.
Just to, you know, a minor quibble here, but there was an armed guard inside that bar the night that terrorists opened fire, so that wasn't a gun-free zone.
Sure there was. No, yes, it was, because he was the only one. State law prohibited anybody else from having a gun, and so they were all unarmed. Once the dirtbag shot his way past the guard, it was open season on helpless victims, and that's the problem with gun-free zones. They are safety only in the minds of those politicians who think it's a good idea, but they don't work, and they have failed for decades.
Well, it was a gun-free zone because it was a bar, and when people drink, the state of Florida probably doesn't think it's a very good idea to arm patrons.
Control
but that's
the
why.
amount of booze you sell them, but don't make them sitting ducks. In a bar, yes. Oh, it might hurt
that's why
business.
You go to a bar.
Do you think a mass murder hurts business? That's what gun-free zones do.
Okay, well, let me run this by you. According to Frank Luntz, he's a Republican pollster, 76% of gun owners, including 71% of NRA members, do not believe someone on the terror watch list should be able to buy a gun. An Orlando gun store manager, a very pro-gun guy, is on board with that. Listen to what he told me. I've never been on a terror watch list.
That's not in there, and I don't believe that right now they are. I think they were trying to pass something along those lines, but I'm not sure that that rule has passed. I honestly don't think.
Does that bug you?
Yes, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes, it does, because if you're on a watch list where you can't even fly, you shouldn't be able to buy a firearm or any type of weapon for that matter.
Okay, and he says,
now,
when
for us to depend on the right to keep and bear arms on a watch list means we're going to depend on a list that had Congressman McClintock and the late Senator Kennedy on the same list. That's not really a very good process. So let's stop getting into the weeds and talking about things that aren't going to really make a difference.
Larry. Let's get into that. Let's get into that, okay? I want to get into that. There are 1.1 million names on the terror watch list. 25,000 of those names are the names of American citizens. And you're right, there have been mistakes. We don't know how many mistakes there have been because that's not public knowledge for some reason. But do those mistakes justify allowing every single person on that terror watch list to purchase a firearm?
Does a gun-free zone in every one but two of our mass murders justify continuing with gun-free zones? But you're not asking the right question. You're trying to get into the weeds, and we're not going to make...
I'm getting into what you were saying. I want to get into it.
We're not going to make people safe by trying to restrict access to guns, because bad guys, we have found, get access to guns no matter what. You'll impede it for the good guys. The bad guys will be armed as they were in the no-gun zone in Orlando.
Would you want to fly on a plane with someone on the terror watch list? Would you?
You know, frankly, that has been something that's probably occurred. The guy hasn't been convicted of anything. We have due process in this country, and if we're going to go down that slippery slope, we're going to end up with somebody making an accusation.
Would you,
and
Larry,
there go
want
your
to
civil
fly
rights.
with someone who was on the terror watch list? Would you want to get on board a plane with someone on the terror watch list?
Wouldn't bother me a bit, because when you can put Senator Kennedy on it or a congressman from California on it, the list doesn't mean a whole lot.
So we should dispose of the terror watch list?
We shouldn't be denying people their right to keep and bear arms on the basis of the list. That is a fact. We've got to do something about getting rid of gun-free zones. I don't want to feel safe. I want to be safe. I want to be able to protect myself. I want other people to be able to protect themselves. And going into a gun-free zone is definitely not the way to protect anybody.